A pleasant good afternoon to our audience. We are happy to be here this afternoon. We're happy to be here with our guest, Miss Eunice Nisbet from St. Kitts, all the way from St. Kitts, who is joining us to share a lot about transitioning online. It's a big topic. We know what everybody is facing as a result of COVID, operating post-COVID also. And a lot is happening in terms of the economy. And for many of us, we have to face reality in terms of where our business is headed from here on. A lot of things are going to change. And the thing about change is that we have to move with change. When things are changing, we cannot stay stagnant. We choose to move. So because we choose to move, we've invited Miss Eunice to tell us a whole lot of information. And I'm not sure we're going to be doing everything today, but we'll definitely invite you guys on for the second session as we proceed. So, Miss Eunice, welcome. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us.
The
And
pleasure to be
yes, and there's something that struck out in your biography. There was that sentence that you said you exchange, and I like the choice of word that you used. You didn't say I made the shift or you transitioned, but you said you exchanged a successful, and the word successful there, 20-year administrative career in corporate for entrepreneurship. Now, in my first thought, I'm like, but this woman is crazy. Successful. You said successful and you held a number of years. So surely that would account for so much of, you know, where you're moving to and what you exchange it for. So tell us a bit about that journey.
well, sure it's interesting you captured that because there was a lot of emotion in it for me when I decided to leave corporate. And like you said, it was a successful career. I had worked with the leading organizations in the region, and I reached a stage where I wanted to be my own person. I wasn't sure exactly how things would work out. However, I knew there was something more for me than what I was doing. And I remember what caused me to make that decision, that shift. Say, I need to be my own person. I need to work for myself. I need to decide who I work for and when I work. And
Mm-hmm.
that was when I said, let me make that exchange. And once you make an exchange, you have to accept
Yes.
what you've traded in for.
Mm-hmm.
So once I exchanged it for entrepreneurship, I knew that that was going to be my life.
Okay. I guess after the exchange, you had no choice, right? Because you
You
make
had no
it.
choice because you
Yeah.
made that exchange. You'd given up this thing
Mm-hmm.
for something different. And yes, there were times I thought of going back into corporate. However, I knew I had made the exchange.
Okay.
And
Right.
once I tasted the flexibility that it allowed me, to me, nothing was worth the change to go back to
Okay.
corporate. So
Okay.
every time, so for instance, even if I sent out an application, the application was with a view to speak to that company to find out how I could serve them.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So when I left corporate and I decided I was going to work on my own, for instance, I sent out applications, yes.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I went in and I did the interviews, it was an opportunity to place myself as a person who could develop your admin staff.
Ah, lovely.
So when we transition, we need to get creative
Mm.
as to how we can use our existing skills, our connections, and so on to get to where we're going and to meet the objectives of what we want to do. I had made the exchange and I knew I needed to make it work. There were going to be ups and downs. There were going to be times when, you wouldn't do the right thing, but I
Mm-hmm.
was willing to embrace and pivot as I
Yeah.
went along.
Yeah.
That was so important because I pivoted many times in my entrepreneurial career.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that's something that entrepreneurs need to understand that mistakes will happen and you may have to pivot more than once. So you may not necessarily get it right the first time, the second time, the third time, but you have to keep at it. You have to keep trying. But you gave yourself no ultimatum. You left corporate, you exchanged.
I exchanged.
So you couldn't take
I
it
wish
back.
I had exchanged. No, I couldn't take it back. I couldn't take it back. And even though sometimes circumstances or other people would tell, because many times when you transition to online and you leave corporate, people would tell you get a real job.
Yes. Yeah.
Because people may not understand exactly what you're doing online, but how you now need to know what you've exchanged it for and keep going. And I discovered a totally new world working online to corporate. There was so much to learn.
Okay.
And I hadn't realized that there were so many people out there already working online, living life on their terms. And that's the beauty of it, that you can now decide who you work for when you work.
Yes. Yeah.
And so you now have time for your family, for your loved ones, to do the things that you enjoy.
For things that really matter. Yes.
It's the things that
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Now, do you mind sharing with us a bit about what your exchange entails? So what exactly is your entrepreneurship field? What do we call Eunice? Who is Eunice?
You call me Eunice. Because yes, I have various, I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I can say that for sure. And I think it comes from my years of working in the admin field. Anybody who has worked as an admin professional knows that you juggle so many balls from day to day, and you're called to do so many different things that it's almost like you now have ADHD and you move from one thing to the next.
Yeah.
And I've found that that has also helped me to be able to work in different capacities as an entrepreneur. So I've taken, so for instance, locally, I've taken my training as an admin professional and trained other professionals, admin professionals. So leading companies here, I go in, I train in the softer skills, right? I also train some middle management, done some work there too, but my focus would be admin professionals. We do time management, we do customer service, and so on. So that is my local business.
Okay.
However, I've come to love to work online because that was my idea when I left corporate. I wanted to become a virtual assistant. So I did start my virtual assistant business, blending in my training and working virtually. So that was Savvy Corporate Planners was about. And as I continued to work virtually, I realized I needed to get new skills. Because working in corporate is different to working online. So I now needed to know things about setting up your website, reaching others, using email, growing your list, using social media. So I had to transition from that to working online. And it called for learning, observing others, seeing what was working, and investing in myself too.
Definitely, yeah.
Because if you want to transition, some people ask about course. If you want to transition, at some point you may need to invest in your learning because it's a totally different world out there, so to speak, online. So one has to know how to transition and be able to grow with it. So what I did was I took a course. I've done a number of courses, online courses, with leading online marketers. So that has helped my marketing. And I learned how to work with authors to market their books online. And to me, that was one of the most exciting parts of my journey. When I would reach out to authors, I actually started my own radio show where I interviewed leading best-selling authors to find out what worked for them. And one of my greatest privilege was being able to interview Les Brown.
Okay.
I actually interviewed Les Brown about authors and what authors can do to grow their book business and so on. So that was one of the highlights for me. And it takes me to a very a very important thing for entrepreneurs to know that they can ask.
Okay.
Unless you ask, you don't know what's possible. And the
True.
most a person can say to you is no.
Some of us are not, we don't receive no very well, you know?
But it's mindset.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah.
mindset, because the most a person can say is no. And I've been able to speak to so many people, leading authors, because I was willing to take a no. Because the most a person can say is no.
Yeah.
So you kind of work your way, you explore, like I said to you, pivot depending on what's happening, because you know this is your entrepreneurial journey
Mm-hmm.
and you want to succeed. So you keep at it and you keep at it.
Yeah.
I must say I also have a very supportive husband who's always
That's
been
good.
there for me and encouraged me. So a silent, supportive husband, I just know that he's there. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that in itself has been a great help.
I think that contributes a whole lot when you have a support system in place, because as you said, this entrepreneurial journey is something else. It is really, I mean, you have to have a really strong, resilient mindset to withstand this thing. This is not just starting a business and going with the flow. No. So many things will happen. And sometimes you can't stand on your own 2 feet. Honestly, you can't. You need a little shoulder, a little support coming from somewhere. So I think that's very, very important. And if we go back to the whole issue of not being able to take no, not being able to receive no, I think I want to start there with the transitioning. I think that might be the problem why people are not so accepting of what is happening now, as businesses are forced to change and take some kind of, action in terms of where we're moving forward, in terms of going forward. They are afraid of the no's and they are afraid of the failures. So is transitioning really necessary? I mean, with what we're faced with, is transitioning, is it that we must transition? Do we have to?
That's a good question, Cherise. I have a little statistic here that might interest you.
Mm-hmm.
In 2011, Facebook had over 500 million users,
Wow.
right? However, according to Sephora, as of June 2019, there are over 2.41 billion monthly active users on Facebook. Can
Wow.
you imagine that number?
Yes, the shift. Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. So if you were to get just a fraction of that to
Mm-hmm.
come to your business, what would it mean for you?
Yeah, that's some fantastic improvement there. That's a lot of sales. That's a lot of business if I get just a fraction of that. So
Yeah,
I guess we would be missing out if we don't transition.
you would be. And that's the way the world is going.
Mm.
With COVID, so many more people than that are now online.
Mm-hmm.
And those people would include your ideal audience,
Right. Yeah.
So is transitioning necessary? What do we choose instead? Even in your local market, how many people are Facebook users or Instagram users?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it would mean that the entrepreneur would have to really engage in a lot of market research. And because social media is so wide, it would mean also knowing exactly where your audience is, are your ideal audience on Facebook, are they on Instagram? There's TikTok now. So does transitioning mean that I have to now learn those things? I know you said we have to invest and learn, but to play catch up now, it's because it seems like we get a late start. The young ones now, the screen agers, you know, from the time they were 2 and 3 years old, had tablets and phones in their hands and know how to use the internet. But it seems like we have to try to play catch up, a lot of business persons, and it's difficult. So, you know, it begs the question, do we really need to do this? You know? So go ahead, yes. Good. So transitioning then is necessary if we don't want to be kept back, if we don't want to lose out
That's
on,
right.
yeah,
And remember, the figure I mentioned is just for Facebook.
yes, yes.
And we want to think, even regionally, even in the Caribbean, most people are on Facebook or on Instagram. Now we have Zoom. And that's what even we use for communication between families, between friends. So people have been forced to go online.
Yes,
And
yeah.
if we miss this opportunity now, then we'll miss the boat. This online thing has been going on about since 2009. I mean, people, if you work in corporate, if you work elsewhere, you would not even realize that there's an online world.
You're stuck in the office.
You're stuck in the office. And that was one of the things that amazed me when I began working online. This thing is so different
Okay.
to what we're used to. And so that is why there is a need to transition now.
Okay.
And businesses who take advantage of it now will be happy they did.
Oh, that's great advice. But
Yes,
then,
they wouldn't want to miss this opportunity.
right
It's
now,
already late. It's already late because this actually started about 2009. So for instance, when people went online in March, I was already working online. When people had to work from home, I was already working from home.
yeah.
And there are millions of people who are already working from home. But for others, it was a totally new thing. And they struggled through it. Businesses who take advantage of the opportunity now will be happy they did.
Okay, fantastic. But it begs the question though, for businesses that have to transition, right? I'm saying have to because it's no longer a question of should I, but in order to progress, you have to, right? But does that mean closing your brick and mortar establishment? Does that mean I have to shut down? I mean, everything is shifting online. What is going to be, what do you think is going to be the future of in-person shopping, of in-person business now?
It doesn't mean that you shut it down. If your financials tell you should shut it down, maybe you need to.
Okay.
But there's nothing to say that you have to.
Right.
If, for instance, you have a local market, you have customers who come into your brick and mortar establishment, depending on your overheads, you might decide you want to. So each entrepreneur has to make that decision. Each business owner has to make the decision as to whether they shut it down. What they can do is add the online aspect to their brick and mortar. And they may find that they love it so much and it's generating so much for them that they no longer need it. Businesses today, there are small businesses today that do drop shipping. Where all you do, you have a website, and people go to your website, they order stuff, and you fulfill the orders. You never see the item.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I think a
So
lot
they
of
have
people, yeah, I think a lot of people were worried, you know, and I think too, some people are actually just barely holding on. When I say they're holding on, they're still waiting to see what happens. So they have the brick and mortar establishment. They know that they must transition, but they're still hoping that this COVID business all blows over and we get back to normal. But is there going to be a normal again? You know?
Right. And how long is going to take?
Yes. Yeah.
So if the person chooses to, if the person is maybe generating sales locally and there's a reason, yes, they may keep their brick and mortar. However, they would side by side with that go online and see how they can grow their business. For instance, as a trainer, I can do online training, However, I also do live training.
Right.
And I love the live training because of the interaction and the feedback
Mm-hmm.
that you get right there.
Yes. Yeah.
Live training. So there's a difference. So you can do both. However, the key is making sure that you capture that part of the
Okay.
online market.
Okay. So we should make sure that we have that presence. We have that
Yes.
online presence. All right. But then, of course, now, let's say we're talking to strangers, people who are new to this. They don't know anything about transitioning. You know, as far as when they hear the word transition, all they think is move, you know. So can you tell us, like, what's the first thing that someone would need to focus on when transitioning?
Your audience, your clients,
Your audience. Okay.
your clients. And in one of my programs, I help people to identify their ideal audience, their ideal client, because that is key. Because are your people online? Where are they online?
Yes.
And how are you going to reach them online? So that's one of the key things. When you begin transitioning, you begin to think of your clients. And once you begin to think of your clients and where they are, that will help you decide where you're going to focus.
Okay.
Because your goal is to serve them.
Yes.
At the highest level. So how am I going to serve my clients? What can I do for them? What do they need now in this moment? And if I'm transitioning, what do I need to do to meet their needs now?
Nice, yeah.
It may sound like a little roundabout answer, but it isn't. Because at the end of the day, it's our clients' needs we're here to meet. It's the people we're serving.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But we won't be able, I mean, we may not be able to reach everybody. I mean, I'm thinking in terms of not all, when we might encounter that problem in transitioning. The customers, who are our ideal customers in the brick and mortar, they may not be our ideal customer when we move online, because there are still people reluctant, you know, about shopping online and making payments online. And, you know, there's still people, for whatever security reasons or whatever little peeve that they have, there's still a little bit, not much, a little bit of reluctance. And, you know, you have some stubborn folks who just would not move, you know. So we won't reach everybody. So is it that we should just accept that we won't reach everybody? We can't service everybody now, but we'll service the majority of our ideal clients?
The thing is, when you think of your ideal clients, what you mentioned there, that they're not wanting to come online, is one aspect of who your ideal clients are. So yes, some of your ideal clients may not want to move online. However, there are other characteristics that they have that would be common to people online.
Okay. All right.
That would be, their needs would be common. So when you're thinking of your ideal customers, your dream clients, you want to think about their needs and their problems.
Okay.
So you're dealing with those people in your brick and mortar would give you an idea as to the type of person you're serving. Right. Are my clients mainly 50-year-olds, or am I serving the teenagers? So for instance, as you transition online, if your clients are maybe mainly you selling to teenagers, 17, 18, 19, where do you think would be a most likely place for you to find them?
Well, I know for a fact they're no longer on Facebook. Yeah, they're online. They're online, but we have to find the platform that they're on. They don't want to be on Facebook.
So which platform are they on?
Well, they don't want to be on Facebook because their parents on Facebook. So perhaps they're probably on TikTok or Snapchat.
So on TikTok. So if you want to reach them on TikTok, what should you do?
Join TikTok. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the other aspect of it too. which is also what I teach in my course, that yes, they may be on TikTok. However, are they the ones spending the money?
Ah, very important. Yes, very important. Mm-hmm.
So where do you go find the people who are spending the money for them
That's
and the
right.
interest?
That's
You know?
right. Yeah.
So then you begin to think of, okay, so here I reach them on TikTok. Here I reach the money people on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So my marketing has to
Talk to both so that they on TikTok could inspire the money holders.
okay.
Understood. Understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see,
So the audience is key in
the
transitioning.
audience is key. Yeah, I get that. It's just that, from reading, even from my own experience, from reading so many different marketers' points of view, they will tell you you don't need to be on every platform. You don't need to,
Exactly.
So now that you say, find the persons who I need to talk to, which would be the children, the teens, but I also need to find the money holders, the persons who are spending for the teens. Right. So that clears it up a whole lot now. Yes.
So you
So
don't need to be on every, like I say, you don't. So you need to find out what works for you.
yeah.
Where can you help your audience, and then what kind of conversations they're having.
Yes. Yeah. Mm.
So how can you converse with them? How can you
Okay.
reach them? Yeah. So all of that. So when you think of when you say, how do I even begin to transition?
Mm-hmm.
You start thinking where your people are, and then what you want to reach them. So that's it. And some people might say your audience isn't online.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's online who's connected to them.
Okay. I like the thinking. Yeah. Somebody's online. Yeah. In transitioning and reaching people on social media, you hear I won't say rumors, but you hear people saying, or those who've been on the social platforms, that the only way to make money on those social platforms is to spend money. So you have to pay for ads, and if you run cheap ads, then you're not going to reach people. So I'm taking it that transitioning is going to have some costs. If so, what are some of the costs associated with transitioning, with moving a business now?
Online. There are costs, like you said, the Facebook ads,
Mm-hmm.
or other ads.
Yeah,
Again, but you would need to budget, and
yeah.
you need to learn how best to reach your audience. Because if someone just goes onto Facebook and runs an ad without knowing the mechanics of
Mm-hmm.
running an ad on Facebook, you will just be throwing your money out.
Okay.
Yeah. However, the people are there on Facebook. So it goes back again to who your audience is.
Yeah.
Who are you targeting? Who do you plan to reach with your ads? And Facebook gives you the means to direct those ads. So if you looking at a budget for transitioning, yes, Facebook ads, but even before you begin spending for Facebook ads, you can grow organically
Mm-hmm.
just by beginning to post relevant material for your audience. And people believe that you must have a very large audience on Facebook or whichever
Yeah.
social media
Yeah.
that you choose. However, you can, small beginnings are good. And if you can impact just one life,
Yes.
if you can make a difference for one person, you would have done well.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to get caught up with the numbers. You want to get caught up with the quality.
Yeah. I think that's important. Yes.
Right. And that's why it goes back again to knowing who
Your
your,
audience.
yes,
Yeah.
who's your dream client. And once you know that, then you begin to speak to that person. So that's it. You may also need funds for a website.
Okay. Yes.
If you're going to transition online, you may need funds for a website.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have had clients who, after we've done training on how they can win awesome clients, they go to Facebook and they use Facebook for local market. and they see amazing results
Okay.
just with Facebook.
Okay.
So if, for instance, for the time being, a person may not be able to afford a website, start with Facebook.
Yes. Yeah.
Put your energies there. Choose one or two platforms. Put your energies into those platforms and see how your business grows.
Yeah.
Then the website can come a little later.
Right. I think that makes people a bit hesitant too, thinking that they have to spend and they have to put out so much that they just
Yes.
shut it down before it even begins.
Mhm,
But I like that you said, give it a chance, you know,
Yeah.
give it a chance. Yeah. And you can start to grow organically. You can have a small number of people there, but speak to those people, you know,
Yes.
speak to those people. And I always say word of mouth is the best source of referrals, and you know, it's the best business. And those people that you
Right.
speak to might tell somebody, might share something that they see with a friend, and so the word, you know, spreads.
And getting wrong, yes. So you transition that way. And you can start with the clients that you already have.
Yes. Yeah.
If they are on social media, you share.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you share that you're on social media. Facebook groups, an excellent way now
Yeah.
to build community.
Nice. Yes.
So there are ways to start that will keep your costs minimal.
Okay. Interesting. That sounds like a nice idea for another discussion at another time. You know, ways to start to keep your costs at minimum. Um, there's something that I wanted to ask to do in terms of transitioning. Is it for every business? Because we've had clients who have food businesses that are struggling. Is transitioning suitable for every business?
What kind of food business you have in mind?
Well, let's just say this individual has a couple of individuals have a roti shop, right? They sell not KFC, but you know, they sell home cooked meals and that kind of thing. They have a
I'm
big
glad you said
establishment. They have a
I'm
big
glad you said
establishment.
KFC.
Yes.
I'm glad you said KFC. Is KFC online?
Well, now they have a where you can order online because they're trying to limit the in-house dining, you
And
know.
do they have a Facebook page?
Yeah, they have a Facebook page. Yes.
Ah,
But that
so
but
can
you
food go on? Can food go
yes.
on there? You
Yes.
have rituals too, right?
Yes, we have rituals too.
Do they have a Facebook page?
Yes, they do.
So can food go online?
Ah, that's a very nice way to answer the question, Miss Beth. Yes, yes. Because we see
Yes.
so many people who are in the food industry on a smaller scale, you know, not as large as KFC or Rituals, and they're struggling. So they may have started with the curbside, and they may have started with, you know, having a call in and doing a delivery pickup, you know, pick up to go kind of service. But they're not thinking in terms of okay, let's devise a Facebook page and let's post up pictures of our menus, and you know, let's show clients. Let's have a client. Let's have customers name a dish. You know, share their favorite recipes.
Something.
Interact with the clients. You know.
Yes. And if you cannot do it, you get a teenager in your family to manage
Yeah.
your Facebook page.
And that was my next question. What about the older generation? What about the older generation? Can they take their business online too? I mean, but you just nicely said it. Get some one of those young children in your family.
Yeah. They know the computer better than the older persons do. So can we involve them somehow in the business? It
Yeah,
also gives them a business sense if you're able
definitely.
to bring them in that way. And maybe there might, if it's not one of your teenagers, there might be somebody else who's into that, whom you can use. And older people can learn. So many older people didn't know how to use Zoom.
Yes, yeah,
Now, aren't they learning?
yes, exactly. Yeah,
Maybe they never used WhatsApp before on their phone. Maybe they didn't have a smartphone. But now they have a smartphone and they learn
yeah,
how to use it. I've been on programs and I see people 75 years,
Wow.
60 years learning social media so that they could grow their business. And you hear those people speak, and I look at them and say, wow, at that age, person is willing to learn so
Yeah.
that they can reach ideal clients. So it's the mindset.
Mm-hmm. It is.
As you transition, you really want to consider your mindset. Prepare yourself for it, to recognize the need that is really necessary,
Mm-hmm.
and be willing to do what it takes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you won't look so right. The first time you may do a Facebook Live, it won't come out right, but nobody expects you to be perfect.
I think social media expects us, because I think that's the problem with social media, you know. We see so many things on social media and we believe, we take it at foresight that that is it, that is what it is. But we have no idea behind the scenes that a person may have taken a photo 10 times just to get it right once.
Yeah.
You know, we have
And
no
some of the
idea.
big, but and I say sometimes we beat up ourselves about being perfect, but I've been to events by well-known internet personalities, and you may have a hitch.
Mm-hmm.
Something will go wrong, something can go wrong,
Yeah.
but it's how they handle it.
Ah, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
it's how you handle it and you come back. So sometimes things go wrong, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there and to use it. I mean, Facebook is a powerful marketing tool. Instagram, there's also Twitter. There's so many of them. You need to know where your people are and go find them there,
Yeah.
right? And that is what I teach people. That one of the things I teach them, that yeah, go find your people where they are, because once you find your people, it makes it easier for you to build relationships, which
Yes.
is what online transitioning is about. You'd be amazed that you build relationships with people from the other side of the world.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exciting about it. And then you grow in the process. You
Lovely.
grow in the, so
Yeah.
transitioning is essential. Is you can either stay and give up, you know, because this is the way the world is going anyway. So we
Yeah.
can stay and give up and say, boy, I don't understand this thing. I can't get it right. That's not for me. And then some clients say, oh, Facebook is for young people. And I don't like to see all these things that they're posting
Yes.
on
Yes.
Facebook. I say, well, you know what you go to look for on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to look at everything that's there.
Yeah.
You choose why you use Facebook or any other online platform, and you use it wisely.
Yes. You use it as a tool rather than a toy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that. And so
Mm.
transitioning is so, it sounds fun. You make it sound, you make transitioning sound fun, and your very relaxed nature makes it sound easy. Right? So I know there's so much more that we have to add to this conversation, but we're gonna close off here today, and we're gonna have you back again, right, to continue. So thank you very much on so much of the insight that you've shared, so much of the ideas, so much of the little pieces of inspiration that fell into the conversation, you know, about the mindset, and we talked about being resilient and all. I think entrepreneurs really needed to hear this, you know.
Mhm.
I think they need to hear it, and they need to hear it over, because it's not something that they don't know, you know. You know, when you get into business, it's not going to be a bed of
No,
roses.
easily.
It's not,
Mhm.
you know. So you have to be, we weren't prepared for COVID, but we have to be ready to change. We have to have that
And
mindset. Yeah.
yes,
We have to be ready to pivot, to move.
yes,
So thank
yes.
you.
You hear a lot about pivoting these days because that
Oh,
is what is happening.
yeah. Yeah,
Really.
exactly. So some people got to
Bouncing
add,
back.
some people got to add
Mhm.
a new word to their vocabulary, pivot.
Yes. It's about bouncing back and rather than just maybe holding our heads and being ready to give up,
Yeah.
rather looking at ways that we can grow,
Yeah.
or perhaps even take your business in a different direction, or start a new business.
Yes.
That is something else. You take what you're doing now and even start something from it that is maybe totally different, and that will grow, so that you can find a success and help more people.
Yeah.
That's what it is about. Yeah. So it can be done. It can be done.
Definitely. And I think hearing you, they'll be inspired to do it, you know, because you make it sound fun and you make it sound easy. So thank you very much. It was lovely having you on, and we look forward to part 2 of transitioning.
I certainly do. And if any of your audience, your community would like to reach me, they can follow me.
Yes.
Stay in touch through my Facebook group, Thriving Business Owners.
Thriving Business Owners.
Yes. So we have a growing group of business owners who support each other. And you can ask questions about where you are in your business, on your journey, and get answers from the other persons in the group. So they're welcome to join us.
Lovely. And if before we close off, if one wants to work with you, how can you facilitate? Because we're in 2 different countries. How can you facilitate? Or would you be able to facilitate? Well, we're online. So,
of course.
So yes, you can facilitate.
Yeah. So they can join the group and then reach out to me.
Right.
All right. And we can always have a conversation. Or follow me on my page. There's so many ways. I invite them. My Facebook page, you can drop it in the link.
Yes, I will. Yeah.
Online Dream Business. That's my Facebook page. So they can go right there and follow the page, send me a message.
Right. And many of our clients are also on Instagram. So I know you're on Instagram too. So we'll also drop that in.
Yes.
Yeah, so they can find Miss Lisbeth anywhere they look.
Yes, they can. And you find me other places too, but I said, let's do these two.
Yes. Right. So great.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Cherise. It's a real treat chatting with you. All the best.
All the best to you too.